Hello, hello! Cujo here with another video. This time a video on a common pain point for a lot of users. Streaming and gaming on Linux.
Not in this video.
Wait, what?
Didn't work.
It didn't work?
Nope.
Oh my god, what happened?
NVIDIA happened.
I don't think I'm going to make a streaming on Linux video. Because I don't want people to accidentally stream on Linux. I might make a gaming on Linux video, but I think that's the extent of what I would do. Okay, so first off, I really wanted to make this video. I really tried. I tried really hard to make this video. It's not going to happen. It ran into some issues, but not the issues you're probably thinking. I could have easily turned this into a 2 or 3 part series of issues that I had with Linux, but I want to turn this video into a focus on one issue that I had. One specific issue that bothers me more than any of the other issues that I ran into. I think I'm going to dive into it, but first I want to give you a little bit of a context of what I ran into and how I got there. I don't remember if the original was like that. Wait, my camera stopped working this whole time. God. So originally, I tried streaming on the sub $300 setup that I had created in January. Already did a video on that, so go ahead and give that a click if you want to see a working version of that setup. That was with Windows though. So I tried streaming a game with that, ran into issue after issue, finally got it to a place where I thought it would be good, and just OBS would not work with me. I ended up doing a 4.5 hour stream where I was basically modding a Game Boy Advance SP. So not a very complex stream, no gaming involved. It was just 2 cameras, microphone, I had some lighting, table. I was just working on a table basically the whole time. Nothing too advanced. Ran into a lot of issues with that, and I couldn't even finish the stream properly because one of the cameras just stopped working all of a sudden. That was, that was awful, but is what it is. I decided to pivot and do a gaming on Linux stream instead. So then I, did what I did with the January video. I installed GeForce Now, set up Stadia. It's like, okay, let's see what the gaming experience is like. So yeah, that's where it all went downhill. That's when I found out that this video was not going to happen. Not in the way I wanted it to, at least. Okay, so with streaming out of the question, I was like, let's just do some gaming on here. See how that goes. Did not go. OBS just could not handle recording gameplay on the PC while I was playing games. I had brand new install of OBS. I was doing 720p, 30 FPS, so I was like, okay, this should work. I was doing cloud gaming, so it wasn't even using a lot of resources. With just one source, which was the game itself, I was using display capture for this. It was still throwing encoder overloading errors, dropping frames, rendering lag, up to 60 milliseconds of render time for the frames, I believe, which is super high. But thankfully, last month I had picked up a AverMedia Live Gamer Portable 2 Plus capture card, which awesome little card. It's, as the name suggests, it's a little portable card that has a SD card slot, and you can record locally. Not the greatest, but it was more than I could ask for at this point because otherwise I would have nothing. So I was able to plug that in and record game footage. So, okay, I have the ability to play games, I have the ability to record games. Sadly, because how Linux is set up, I wasn't able to pass through audio, so I have no audio of the games, it's just the video itself. But I'm good to go, right? That's it, that's all I need. Sadly, no, that's where this video begins. This video begins with a big stab in the back from NVIDIA. I was expecting NVIDIA to be the, save the day. Well, kind of save the day. We know how NVIDIA is with their drivers in Linux and how they're not very big on the, the sharing portion of their drivers. So, yeah, I was hoping that the Linux or the GeForce Now service would be the saving grace here. It wasn't. It was an awful experience. It was very depressing to utilize, and I feel like NVIDIA has abandoned any, any chance at salvaging a relationship with Linux users. Marking Linux as unsupported and forcing them to use the web browser for GeForce Now. I wasn't expecting it to be a bad experience. It was awful. Can't recommend this to anybody. So this video is about how NVIDIA dropped the ball here. Really dropped the ball. So here's some footage of me trying to play New World, which is a game that's not currently supported on Linux. The anti-cheat just doesn't work with Linux right now. That's the way it is. But to my surprise, I was able to load it up, log into a game, and no anti-cheat issues. It just let me log in. But that's kind of where the good news ends, unfortunately, because even at the lowest settings, I was only getting about 20 to 30 frames per second on average, and the input delay was so bad, it took me a while to really do anything. Even navigating around town, it just felt like a chore. So while I was able to log into the game and load a character, which I'm not supposed to be able to do on Linux, that's kind of all I was able to do. Yeah, see for yourself, this was kind of a mess, even by New World standards. Next is another game that currently cannot be played on Linux, and that's Destiny 2. It too suffers from the same anti-cheat issues that New World has, just not playable on Linux at all right now. But yeah, as you can see, this game is actually loading for me. Unfortunately, this footage is even worse because a first-person shooter game like this, it amplifies the input lag issue, and typically input lag is measured in milliseconds, and the way that I do it is I use an iPhone and I record at the 240 frames per second slow motion speed, and it lets me count the frames in between when I press the button and when the screen changes. That's using that and some math, you can determine the input latency in milliseconds. So here's a quick video of what it looks like when I'm, measuring it correctly. Now in this case, the latency was so bad, I had to record it with a stopwatch on my phone. I started the stopwatch while simultaneously pressing a button, and then I stopped it once the screen updated. It's not very accurate, but the input lag was about 5.41 seconds, so it didn't matter if I was off by half a second. 5 seconds of input lag is just insane. Totally unplayable. It's a mess. I basically could not wait to rage quit this game because it was so infuriating how bad this input lag was and how awful of an experience it was. I wanted to do some level of testing. It was not possible. Just couldn't do it. But wait, couldn't this be an issue with my network connection, the PC, or maybe even the game itself? I wanted to be sure, so I loaded up Google Stadia and logged into Destiny 2 on there, and oh boy, was it night and day difference. Compared to GeForce Now's 5.41 seconds of input lag, Google Stadia had only 75 milliseconds of input lag on the mouse, which I tested 4 times, and surprisingly, each time was exactly 75 milliseconds flat. So then I decided to test the keyboard, and the average there was 120.8 milliseconds, which is still a little high, but nowhere close to 5 seconds. And then finally, I decided to test the controller, and the controller was giving me 108.3 milliseconds on average, which it's higher than I usually experience during my testing on Windows, but when I was playing the game, I couldn't tell the difference for any of them, so the latency was not a factor in that case. As you probably guessed, you're currently watching some footage of games that I was playing on Google Stadia while on Linux. These games include PUBG, which is not currently able to run on Linux. The one caveat is I had to use the controller. I wasn't able to use a mouse and keyboard, but it still played. That's just amazing to me. Anyways, let's get back to the main point of this video now. So here I am with all this information, and I'm just really disappointed in NVIDIA over this data. I could have easily flipped the script and turned this into a video about how Google Stadia is the victor here. But that's not going to be this video. This video is about how NVIDIA had the opportunity to completely change the gaming space in Linux and provide people that want to use Linux the ability to play games that their developers would not support otherwise. That's what this video is. I mean, I've shown you footage of games that are not supposed to play on Linux. I'm playing them on Linux. Well, playing in quotation marks. I'm running them on Linux. These are games that people have been asking to get fixed and supported by Linux for a long time. And here I am with the theoretical ability to play these games, and the only thing stopping us is NVIDIA does not want to support this. NVIDIA wants to support it. GeForce Now on platforms that are already known for their gaming. The GeForce Now app on Windows is phenomenal. It is amazing. But those games run natively on Windows. We don't need it there. This is where we would benefit from it. Now, is cloud gaming a perfect replacement for native support on Linux? No, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that if your options are to play a game or not play a game, it's always better to play the game than to not play the game. That's the point here. Now, it's going to be a lesser experience, yes, but a lesser experience compared to not being able to play the game? No, that's not the case. It's a lesser experience than installing Windows and playing it, but if you wanted to run it on Windows, you would have done that already. This is about Linux. That's the point I'm trying to get here. NVIDIA has the technology. They have the ability. Their cloud platform, their GeForce Now platform is so close. It runs nearly identical to how, Google Stadia does in a lot of instances. As a matter of fact, I ran it in the exact same browser. Same exact settings, same browser. I had Google Stadia open on one tab, GeForce Now open on another tab. There's no reason why Google Stadia should have been, it was the better one. There's no reason. Like, technology-wise, they should have been even. How can Google get this right and NVIDIA, the gaming company, cannot get this right? Come on, NVIDIA. So at the end of the day, gaming and streaming is supposed to be fun. When it's not fun, it's time to move on. And in terms of Linux, I think it's time to move on for me. It's kind of a shame because for this month or a little over a month, I've been running Linux Mint on this PC in my garage. And if you watch my last video, I've been using my garage quite a bit lately for watching movies and TV shows and stuff like that, because I set up my projector in here and everything. So I've actually been using this PC for browsing the web, Discord, little tasks here and there, and this setup I have with Linux Mint has been the best Linux experience I've had on a desktop in years. A big shout out to my friend Greg, who recommended Linux Mint to me. I had tried other distros prior to this and always had little issues here and there. I'm not saying Linux is a bad operating system. I'm just saying that it's not there right now for gaming and streaming. And if you happen to play games that run natively, it's there for you. If you're like me and cloud gaming is kind of your thing, it's just not there. So I don't want people who enjoy Linux to take this as a Linux is bad video. It's not. This whole video is about how NVIDIA dropped the ball. This is about NVIDIA just messing up. And it just happens to be, they messed up with Linux. And if you were thinking about using GeForce Now, it ain't it. Sorry. Not it. So if you're watching this video, then my Linux PC is gone. I've returned Windows to the solid-state drives. Will I ever revisit Linux again? Maybe. probably not in the near future, but if something drastic changes, I'll definitely go back and visit it. I think I might be waiting until Valve solves this one though. Thanks for watching. Peace out.